Well, happy Halloween, everyone. It is almost time to go trick-or-treating here in Spokane, and wanted to give you the latest details as to what to expect weather-wise for the holiday. I'm meteorologist Thomas Patrick. Thanks for joining us on this exclusive KREM 2 Plus live stream. Not a weather impact alert day, just a weather impact stream because, let's face it, if we're all going to be outside with the kids and your parents and everybody, well, you got to know what the weather is going to be like and if those costumes are going to get wet or not. So right off the rip, for Halloween, the forecast is actually pretty average for the season. We got about 48 degrees for sunset temperatures, which is about 5:30 in the evening, and mostly cloudy skies. It is a close call between it raining or not. We've been on the not side of that equation all forecast long so far this week, leading into tomorrow's Halloween and trick-or-treating, and it still appears to stay that way. But it's a close call overall. So here's what I mean is we'll take you to our weather maps and show you the large storm system over the Pacific Ocean that will be responsible for rain this weekend. And it's all been about timing, because if it waits till Saturday morning, that's a-okay for Halloween. If it wants to arrive as early as possible, that's where we might to start get wet. And I know that for the inland Northwest, we have to be prepared for really any season when it comes to Halloween. I can remember Halloween's past where it's been a white Halloween and it has snowed. Not the case this year, thankfully. So here's the storm we're tracking. Big low pressure swirl right over the North Pacific. This low pressure core is going to find a home south of Alaska in the Gulf of Alaska, whereas the cold front and the jet stream attached to it is where the moisture and the rain is going to come from. I think it's going to take until Saturday before it arrives in Spokane. Seattle's a different story. They very well will have a wet Halloween out on the west side just because of their proximity. Other side of the state, they're a little bit closer, so the rain's going to arrive much earlier. But you can see that the rain will be coming in from west to east. As for Thursday, when we're recording this, it's just all about the cloud cover and even some of the fog, which has afflicted areas in Spokane even to this hour. It's just past 11 a.m. on Thursday, October 30th. It's actually still quite a bit foggy outside. So that might be another player in the morning hours, but fog is unlikely in the evening. Just how it works more often than not. We'll take you hour by hour on Halloween day. From noon to midnight, trick-or-treating happening just after sunset. Sundown is 5:30 in the evening, so the trick-or-treaters tend to get out at about 6 when it just starts to get dark outside. Usually by 6:30 and 7, it is almost pitch black, which is great for those that are hoping for a bit of a fright outside with all the costumes being displayed. Notice that temperatures are not bad at all. Mid to upper 40s, we will take that for Spokane for sure. Again, at night, it can get cold fast. It's the cloud cover that actually helps us in this case. I think it does stay cloudy all night long. That does mean it will kind of look darker in the sky than normal without any of the stars or the first quarter moon, which is outside right now. No, it's just going to be all cloudy, but thankfully not raining until almost midnight. That's when our first rain icon appears on the hour-by-hour forecast here. That leads into Saturday morning's rain. So this looks great. It is close, though. That's a closer call than we would like it to be. I would rather it just be clear and cold and be able to guarantee that it's not going to rain, but instead the forecast says maybe the tiniest of chances. Again, temperatures that's pretty good. Can't expect it to be much warmer than that for the last day of October, of course. I will keep the tiniest of rain chances. We're talking 5 to 10%. Maybe somebody's going to experience a sprinkle or a drizzle on Friday evening. You would be one of the unlucky ones if that does happen to you or your family. I would just prepare for it to be, honestly, a pretty nice trick-or-treating from that 6 to 8 o'clock hour. The later you go, the more likely that rain becomes. The farther west you live, also the more likely that rain is going to be late Friday night. So here's what I'm talking about on our future tracker. This is our computer model simulation of how things will play out for this Friday. I'm going to start at 3 p.m. in the afternoon. Things look pretty good, right? Well, except for one spot. Do you see this? There's one spot of rain. Now, in this case, it's over Lincoln County. That's not verbatim to say Davenport's going to get rain at exactly 3 p.m. It just shows one singular rain cell across the, 250 mile stretch that is the inland Northwest, maybe one person gets rain Friday evening. It's not going to be much, but it could be someone. We'll take you to 7 p.m. Again, the mid of the trick-or-treat hours, there's still one spot. This one's a little closer to Grand Coulee, maybe not into those cities in, specifically, but there's just this one spot where it's like, come on. Wish I could just show a completely blank map here. There's just that one spot that has to keep us honest. Again, I would prepare for it to be dry. This is very, very likely to be dry, very, very unlikely to see any rain. And the worst case scenario, it would sprinkle for a couple minutes and then be on its way. So unless you have the most fragile of Halloween costumes that you absolutely cannot get wet, maybe have the mom and dad hold the umbrella by their side just in case, like to be extra super duper safe. Otherwise, I think most of us will be A-okay. Honestly, I always recommend that you have a costume that's going to be kind of warm and padded in the first place, maybe something that has some fur on it, because guess what? It's always cold for Halloween, and that would just keep you warm for these parts. If that's the case, maybe you're already weather built for the Halloween and the trick-or-treat hours. Again, it's that one spot that keeps popping up. Every single model has had this one spot. It's not much, but it is just one thing. Now we'll advance into Saturday. Now you see the difference here. This is just a widespread soaking rain right away on Saturday. Here you see this at 4 a.m., so this is well before sunrise. I think the rain likely starts at about midnight in Spokane, and that carries into the morning hours Saturday. So it's a close call, right? If this happens just 6 hours earlier, our Halloween forecast would look completely differently. So this is going to line up just perfect enough to give us the cloud cover to keep our temperatures in the 40s, but the rain doesn't arrive early enough for most for it to actually get wet on trick-or-treating. So this is all great news. Again, trick-or-treat looks dry. Saturday definitely looks wet. As for Saturday afternoon, we'll take that until about 3 or 4 in the afternoon. Now we see our more typical on and off scattered showers. I had one person ask me about the Eastern game. 50-50 shot for rain in the afternoon. That's just how it works when we get into a storm system that looks like this. Obviously, Saturday morning, definitely going to get rain at that stage. Friday night, unlikely. Saturday afternoon, might taper off back into some scattered showers. So the weekend, the first November weekend, 55 with rain and showers. By the way, that's our warmest day of the forecast at 55 degrees. You'll see why, because it could be shades of an atmospheric river, which tends to give us a rainy but warm weather pattern, hence the warmer day of the forecast. Sunday looks exceptional though. 52, back to mostly sunny. Honestly, a nice sunny Sunday is something we've needed recently. I think this will be our 4th straight weekend where it has rained. This time it's on Saturday as opposed to Sunday, because most of our recent Sundays have had some rainfall. If you're wondering about the total amount of rain, not a ton, maybe just a couple tenths of an inch. Kind of go back to a 1/4 inch of rain in Spokane. That would be the same as what we got on, I think it was Wednesday morning. It was Tuesday morning or Wednesday morning, one of those mornings. We had about a 1/4 inch of rain. It was very wet to start the day, and then we were kind of on our way. Most of this falls Saturday morning. Big difference on the west side, though. You see from the Cascades and west on what we call the windward side of the mountains, about an inch or maybe up to 2 inches along the Washington coast of pure rainfall. That will make for a very wet, yes, Halloween and Saturday combined with things drying out a bit more on Sunday. So there's your total rainfall that we're expecting. One more thing to add to all this forecast, and it is the possibility of fog. This is almost 11:30 in the morning on Thursday, and it's still looking a bit foggy outside. Now, I will say the fog or the clouds have lifted maybe about 50 or 100 feet up off the ground. The pavilion was not visible about an hour ago up to this point. So I think now it's safe to say the fog is gone, but the low cloud cover still remains over Spokane. It has really impacted the morning. I think it could be the same for Halloween. I say I think because fog is really difficult to forecast for. For me, it's one of the most difficult things to really try to pin down, like nailing Jell-O to the wall. This is really hard. So for our visibility forecast, I take it back to our computer modeling, trying to simulate what the visibility is going to look like. and it just doesn't find it. This is about 8 a.m. Friday morning, Halloween morning, and the lowest it went was 7-mile visibility, which is honestly okay, but I don't think the model has a very good grasp as to the river, the recent rainfall, and a myriad of other factors like hyper-local microclimate factors. So I can really only say there's a chance for fog on Friday morning. If it happens, it happens. If it does, it sticks around through 9 a.m., 10 a.m., maybe noon at the latest, and then it will carry back into just regular cloud cover. Not unlike what we're seeing today, Thursday. It's a very similar situation for Friday, Halloween. Really, the focus is a lot more on the rain and that next bigger storm system as opposed to the fog. But obviously, kids still have school. You probably still have work. So yes, make it a little bit easier on yourself for that morning commute. Wanted to add that into the Halloween forecast just because it's a Friday morning thing, not necessarily a trick-or-treat Friday evening thing. We'll take you back to the big picture. You know, Halloween rain has been the question mark all week long. Every single day I've been eyeing down how early the storm system is set to arrive. So here from the big picture view, this is actually pretty late Halloween evening. Notice how the storm system, which is really attached to the jet stream, which is trying to arc from the Pacific Ocean into the Pacific Northwest, directly aimed at British Columbia, but there is a bit that's moving into Washington as well. Notice how that arc or fetch of moisture, which is physically where the moisture in the water comes from out of the ocean, that gets guided into Western Washington Friday evening. So it's a wet trick or treat for our friends on the west side. So Seattle, Everett, Olympia, Tacoma, they're all getting rain for Halloween, but not the inland Northwest. Again, save for that one spot that I showed you earlier. So save for that, we're dry on Halloween, west side is not. Now we'll follow this into Saturday. And that arc, that fetch of moisture does get overhead, but it's a little bit more detached from the jet stream at that point. Here's the jet stream proper. Again, still coming out of the Pacific Ocean, but notice how the fetch of moisture, it arcs well to the south, so it doesn't quite have the same draw or the same energy. In fact, it even breaks up over the coast of California here on the modeling. There's still the moisture, so that's our Saturday morning rain that you see here, finally giving way to maybe a little bit of some dry conditions Saturday afternoon. But this is our rainfall on Saturday morning, and that's what I've been timing out, just kind of where that arc is positioned and when it does get to the inland Northwest. Looks like it's midnight and afterwards into Saturday morning, leaving our Friday trick-or-treating hours quite dry. So here's a peek at the 7-day forecast. You'll see this again at KREM 2 News at noon. Temperatures are pretty normal for us. 49 today, and then 50 degrees for the high on Halloween. By the way, the average is 49. So we're pretty much right on par temperature-wise. It's the cloud cover that actually helps us out a bit Friday evening to keep those lows in the 40s. So enjoy it. I think our rain chances are extremely minimal for the inland Northwest and for Spokane and for Coeur d'Alene. Rain likely Saturday morning for sure. And we'll keep it at scattered showers Saturday evening, with it being actually our warmest day at 55. Again, shades the atmospheric river, trying to give us a bit of warmth along with that rain. Sunday trends drier, and it will be mostly sunny for the second day over the weekend. But one final look at your Halloween forecast. Rest easy, kids and parents. It'll be mostly cloudy or almost outright cloudy by evening. Sunset at 5:30, trick-or-treat happening right after that. Temperatures in the upper 40s at first, only getting into the mid-40s later into the evening. So enjoy a great Halloween, everybody. A great, safe, and fun one at that. I'm meteorologist Thomas Patrick. Thanks for joining us on KREM 2 Plus. Make sure to stay tuned for all the newscasts here on KREM 2 Plus, and we will see you later at our hour-long KREM 2 News at noon in just a bit. So again, enjoy the Halloween, everybody. Have a fun time. Stay safe.